1. The long night of the first encounter. In 2006, classical guitarist Satoshi Makino turned 38. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of his professional debut, he gave an extraordinary number of concerts that year, 35 in his home country of Japan, 51 overseas. Tonight was the crowning event of a hugely successful tour. The autumn leaves in the vicinity of Tokyo's Suntory Hall were just then at their peak, and the trees, lit up by champagne-colored lights, shone brilliantly. A cold wind was blowing, sometimes strong enough to whirl the leaves, but this only kindled greater excitement in the hearts of the people standing outside, bundled in coats, tickets in hand. Makino's performance that evening was talked about long afterward. The main item on the program was Concierto de Aranjuez, which he performed with the New Japan Philharmonic Orchestra. For his 3 encores, he played Lauro's Seis por Derecho, then his own arrangement of Brahms' Intermezzo No. 2 in A major, and finally a Toru Takemitsu arrangement of the Beatles' Yesterday. The instrument he played on was for once not his beloved fleta, but a Greg Smallman guitar. Ever since his storied debut at 18, when he'd taken first prize in the Paris International Guitar Competition, Makino's performances had always been sure-footed and trouble-free. The past 20 years had demonstrated not only that he possessed talent, but that of the many talents out there, his was singularly fine. Makino's listeners frequently forgot to breathe. His stylistic perfection made it impossible to half-listen, critics often said, and this wasn't entirely a compliment. The wry implication was that listening to Makino perform was a bit exhausting. From the first, he was so excessively good at whatever he played, in any genre, that some thought he lacked commitment and was merely toying with his talent. Others found him thoughtful, partly because of the look of brooding concentration he wore while playing, like a chess player staring at the board. That night, he showed an insightful understanding of the music with startlingly original interpretations that won listeners over. Yes, of course! Even in the third movement of the Concierto de Aranjuez, the music was articulated in such fine-honed and loving detail that every nuance came alive, leading some critics to raise an eyebrow, surprised to discover that a piece so infamously difficult, it seldom sounded impressive, no matter who the performer was, should turn out to possess such charm. In short, the music was so persuasively rendered that, regardless of one's personal likes and dislikes, it was impossible to find fault with any of it. At the encore, as if on cue, the audience rose in a standing ovation. While clapping, people leaned backward slightly and thrust their arms forward as far as they could in hopes of getting him to hear them. The height of clapping hands rises in direct proportion to the degree the applauder is moved. This was another thing the audience discovered that evening. With every curtain call, Makino gave a refined bow of a slightly different flavor. He showed how satisfied and moved he was, not hiding his fatigue. The shy smile on his face, so different from the solemn expression of moments before, radiated the exhilaration he often displayed on television talk shows. After the concert, the lobby was in an uproar, creating a synergy that convinced people their private impression was right. The performance had been stupendous. People who had come without a companion quickly began sharing their excitement online, standing stock still and causing others to bump into them with annoyance. The recording of the concert, released afterward as a CD, went on to win that year's Record Academy Award, and sold extremely well for an album of classical music, classical guitar no less. It was reviewed widely, covered not just in specialty magazines and newspapers, but also on television, giving even those with no interest in music the vague notion that that fellow Makino must really be something all right. The value of having attended that concert subsequently rose even higher.